I'm very excited to be able to sit down and have dedicated yapping time about my favorite trinkets. In my previous video, which was all of the clothing and accessories I picked up in Japan, a bunch of you mentioned you would be interested in seeing all the trinket items as well. And be careful what you wish for, because we're in for a long one. No, don't worry. I know it looks like that's a lot there, but we're going to speed run through it. And then hopefully we'll have time to do a bit of a room tour as well, just so we can look at some of the other amazing items I've been able to collect over the years, whether it's figurines, coffee table books, keychains, you name it. Obviously, Japan is an absolute haven if you're into these sort of things. They have so many different character themed stores, gachapons everywhere you turn, and best of all, the thrift stores are jam packed with all these trinkets. My two loves combined to create my favorite animal, me, in a book of sifting through trinkets for 2 hours, determined to find the ultimate gem. And one of the best finds, in my eyes at least, were these little Kewpie keychains of Bokuto and Akashi in their little owl costumes. So cute, but also the fact that I found them there as a pet felt like destiny. Small little keychains like that is what I got the most of. Obviously, they're inexpensive and also not very heavy, so it's easy to pack. I'm sorry, is this not just the goodest boy that ever lived? I loved this Hello Kitty series. We ended up getting 4, luckily no repeats, but I do wish I had gotten the sewing machine. We definitely have a soft spot for Psyduck, my Pokemon of choice, but we were influenced to get a whole little family after we saw a TikTok of these little gachas. We had no idea if they'd still be available because the cute ones do seem to have a quick turnover time, but we only saw them once our entire trip, and that was at Ikebukuro. Highly recommend, because they legit have like all the character stores there. I really regret not getting more of these. They're a little Hamtaro flip phone. I actually went back the next day and they were completely sold out already. You guys know I am a Monchichi girl. That is my #1 favorite purse pal, but I have to speak my truth. I was disappointed by the merch selection. It just was not giving. So I didn't want to waste my money, but I did end up getting 2 gachas. These were 2 of my favorite Sanrio finds, and again just emphasizes the fact that the merch we get here in the West and what they have in Japan is just not created equal, because we could never. This is an extra level of cute. Another perfect example of that is the little Mimi collaboration collection. I even picked up some exclusive Sanrio merch when I took the Hello Kitty Shinkansen. So much fun. Highly recommend if you guys are traveling south of Osaka. There was actually a bunch of Angel Blue, Daisy Lovers, those sort of themed brands. And I love when they don't just have the balls, but like the flat pack options as well. For example, the little fan picket, the most adorable stickers, and then also these coasters. Like, how are these just out of a gacha? May I also interest you in a small selection of slightly larger keychains, some being of the plushy variety. As you could probably tell by now, I'm by no means a brand loyalist. If it's cute, it's cute. Who am I to discriminate? However, I do have a soft spot for Sylvanian families, and that considered, I feel like I didn't actually do that much damage. The fruit theme would have to be my favorite of theirs, so I loved this little pouch, which also came in handy to shove all the trinkets in. I already have a mix of a couple of different families. One of my favorite animals in real life though are otters, so crazy that I didn't already have this one, especially considering how adorable the little twin pram is. Like, are you seeing this? And I don't know if you can get these here and I've just been living under a rock, but I loved the concept of them already coming in their own little display case. Yeah, upon further reflection, I definitely do have a bias for the animal food combination, because they did the same thing with the Mofyu-san range. So cute, and again, actually practical to store away some of the many trinkets. Same goes for the Kiki tin from Ghibli Park, and this really cool donut container from Hysteric Glamour Mini. If you guys are a fan of the brand, but the regular clothing is a little bit too expensive, definitely try out the mini store, because it's not just kids clothes. There were definitely other options there as well. Another container from my baby Harajuku Chopper. I am just obsessed with him, and I really appreciate the idea of having limited theme concepts to specific store locations, because it just makes it feel even more special, especially considering how trendy trinkets currently are. I think it's important to have things that still hold sentimental value. I've definitely seen a lot of polarizing takes on that, but there has been some very fair criticism on, do people actually like these things, or is it almost just for like social media clout that you need to have whatever one is going viral at the moment? Because I kid you not, all the most popular ones, I'm left like speechless as to why they are sold out constantly. Like, respectfully, you're never going to see me with a Labubu. They just don't resonate with me, but beauty's in the eye of the beholder. Perhaps everyone else does genuinely like them, and I'm totally with you. Sometimes it truly does feel like I need that little dopamine hit from an unboxing. But I think things to keep in mind are, do you genuinely like all of the options in said blind box? Otherwise, is probably going to leave you more disappointed than happy. And if you can find something that has more of a sentimental attachment, then you're more likely to treasure it forever rather than it being just a dying fad in a couple of months. I guess one of the easiest ways to achieve that is if it's from one of your favorite forms of media. Obviously, really easy in Japan if you're into anime. I was so happy we got to go to the Soul Eater 20th anniversary exhibit because it is so hard to get merch for that. Like, I have my little Mucka figurine in the background, but that's it. But even if I didn't buy anything in the end, the free gift they gave you with the purchase of the ticket was actually so good. Potentially biased though, because the artwork for Soul Eater just remains unbeaten for me. I didn't actually go too crazy with the anime merch just because it is still really hard to find shoujo related items, and when you do, they're usually very high prices. With that being said, of course, there's always an abundance of Sailor Moon. The only thing I picked up though was this old school VHS. I'm just a sucker for physical media. Like, there's honestly, it's like a slippery slope that I have been trying to avoid because this could get dangerous for my bank account. I also picked up 2 CDs. The Nana one was new from Tower Records and the Oran High School Host Club one was secondhand. I got these Coming Summer Kiss, I think they're magnets. And then actually in Korea, they had one of the touchscreen photo card vending machines for Coming Summer Kiss. So random, but they're actually really good quality. Unfortunately, I just didn't get my favorite characters. Still to this day, Haikyuu is a comfort series for me. And I thought that these clear visual tickets, they call them, were a really good souvenir. It is a blind bag that has a lot of options, but all the artwork is really sweet. Other than that, we were just really locked in on One Piece merch because let's be real, there's just an insane amount of it. I already have my all-time Holy Grail Nami figure and I didn't see anything that compared, so my main priority was Perona. I had a full solid day looking through Akihabara and this ended up being my choice, but then also later on ended up with this super cheap option which I justified because hello, they're alternate outfits. I haven't mentioned this before, but we also love the One Piece card game, so I ended up getting an old art version of Perona and putting her in the most adorable like maid themed Sanrio photo card holder. And my apologies because this might mean nothing to you, but if anyone also plays or collects, I need to get this off my chest. A couple of months ago, we bought a couple of random OP2 boosters because they're kind of hard to come by here. We pulled a manga rare ace. Actual insanity. Pretty sure he's worth like $1,000, which actually, yeah, a lot of our One Piece stuff is displayed in Sam's room. This isn't just a trinket room situation. It's definitely the whole house. I feel like when people come to visit, it's treated like a museum. Like, what are the new additions I need to see? Which is exactly why for our wedding, the party favors were actually Sylvanian family babies. I really didn't do too many blind boxes just because I can actually get them at home anyway. Like these little face changing ones you can just get at Target now, but we love them. Last time around, we got the Pokemon version. As someone who grew up admiring and wishing they could partake in the scene culture, I couldn't help myself. I had to get a gloomy bear of some sort, but low-key, they're still very expensive. The only Popmart figure I got was the Skull Panda Christmas collection because it was released while we were over there. Ever since we've lived here, I think it's our 3rd Christmas now, I just like to add new little Christmas goodies to the collection. We definitely still have a long way to go, but it's fun to just build it up slowly year after year. I do like Skull Panda and a couple of the other Popmart series, but my favorite will always be when it was first released, my first Popmart purchase, Hirono. Like I mentioned in the last video, I sadly didn't end up acquiring a Blythe doll, but I did get some cute little bits and bobs, some fun stickers. They had a bunch of different options of these little mindful message cards, this acrylic standee of like a bridal cake, and this little blind bag keychain that I haven't opened yet. What do we reckon I have? I'm thinking maybe the nurse, but they're all good options. We got the little blush pink cutie. Also this fashion stylist sticker book, probably meant for kids, but I really do not care because I too think this looks like a fun time. And like I mentioned last time, the Blythe collection guidebook, they had these for all different eras. Mine is actually 2001 to 2011. I also got the Haikyuu 10th anniversary magazine, just jam-packed with lots of artwork. And then the 2 kind of program booklets, I guess you would call them, were from the Soul Eater exhibition and also from Ghibli Park. I got the Whisper of the Heart one. I love seeing people's junk journals or just random collages, and I always have good intentions of doing my own but just never get around to it. And perfect example of that is holding on to all of this crap from the trip. It honestly would have been such a shame to let it go to waste, so I decided to do a little corkboard situation. Most of them were just the inserts from the gachapons I got, but also other packaging, free stickers, business cards, tickets, all that sort of thing. I'm so happy with how it turned out. It's just the perfect memento for the trip. But even if you haven't been on a holiday, I think this is really fun just to have the most personalized wall art. And although I ended up including a couple of keychains on here, I knew I was going to need something on a much larger scale to showcase showcase my smaller trinkets. Obviously a shelf just isn't going to cut it when it comes to keychains. I was definitely interested in the acrylic organizers and then also the infamous pegboards, but I ended up going for this wire grid hanger. I will say I think this leans to a more messy sort of approach, but I do actually like the kind of cluttered chaos of it all. I really just lent into that by having different colors, textures, and sizes. If you wanted it to be a bit more clean and streamlined, then I think you'd want to pick trinkets that feel like they come from the same genre. Personally, I feel like having some of those larger plushy style keychains and sticker sheets really does help balance it out, because if everything's teeny tiny, it ends up not feeling as cohesive. Another great way to avoid that though is having these clear pouches that are made up of those small items. I've just managed to jam pack a bunch of my favorites. Clearly a sucker for a good SM mini. There's Yuri on Ice and Kimi ni Todoke representation. There's old Papa the Rapper Happy Meal toy, and actually a bunch of souvenirs from my last trip to Korea in 2023 that have just been sitting around waiting for their time to shine. I ended up hanging it in this corner of the room next to my IKEA coat rack, which I actually used to store some of my favorite bags. As you can see, there's also a selection of some of my fancier shoes that I don't want to leave out in the garage. And if you're wondering where the rest of my keychains went, at the moment they're just in storage in this cute little My Melody basket. Let me know if you have any good ideas on how to display them, but for now they're just like easy access if I want to decorate my bags. And then back to this furniture piece I skipped over. It's actually a kids book storage from Amazon, but it is the perfect option if you're looking for a fun way to display some of your magazines or vinyl records. My current prized possession in my collection is this 2003 edition of Kira Maniacs magazine. This is the ultimate edition in my opinion. It's the one you see scans for all over Pinterest featuring the Nana pages. I scoured buyee for over a year to be able to find this at a good price. I've got some other vintage Japanese magazines. Kira and Cutie are probably my favorites. I actually have a full video on this if you're interested though. Of course, the collection wouldn't be complete without some copies of Fruits as well. Honestly, I think my favorite though is just the best of book. I was actually lucky enough to pick this up when it was still being sold retail, which meant I didn't have to pay an astronomical price, and I even got a free set of postcards, which was really cool. I know a Fruits lookbook has been long overdue on my channel. If you guys are still interested, let's just keep our fingers crossed that I can get it together this year. These two Aizawa art books are another favorite of mine. I don't know if they have a Paradise Kiss edition, but if they do, I definitely need to add it to my wish list. And actually another one that's on my wish list is part 2 of this Sanrio design book. The one I have is for the 70s and 80s, but I believe there's a 90s 2000s version as well. It pretty much just has pictures of all different merch that they've released. I don't know, I feel like this is a good option if you're trying to cut back on trinket consumption, but you still like looking at all the cute things. Okay, moving around the room now. Technically, this is actually in the hallway, but you see it as part of the set since I leave the doors open. The highlight here is obviously the Sylvanian family's mermaid castle, duh. This is the frame you guys typically see in my videos. This couch that I've had for years and the mannequin are both from Facebook Marketplace, as well as the old TV, which is actually in working condition. I have it sitting on this cabinet I thrifted. Originally, I really wanted to use it to display more figures, but the shelves were just too tall, so I had to fill them with sweaters, and then used the top of the TV to display my stunning Nana Osaki figure and this DVD set of the 2001 version of Fruits Basket, which I thought was a really lucky find at the op shop. Obviously, the main component here is the wardrobe. I really wanted something that took up a lot of space and made more of an impact than just your run-of-the-mill clothing rack. The compromise ended up being these DIY pipes from the hardware store. It was just the most cost efficient and didn't require me to be drilling into the walls. This Powerpuff Girls suitcase I have filling in space down here was actually a gift from my nan back when I was in primary school. I have a couple of sentimental items that I've held onto since I was a kid. Luna and Artemis, who have definitely seen better days. These crochet dolls of me and my best friend Sharon, this iconic Barbie book. Actually, I should try and rescue one of my old wrestling figurines from the garage. I have one little box of storage still. The hoarder in me is sad I wasn't able to hold on to more of my toys. I did actually end up repurchasing this Yasmin Bratz head on eBay that I used to love growing up. It's definitely one of my favorite items on this shelf that's made up of a bunch of random bits and bobs. I already mentioned a couple of my beloved figures earlier, Nami and Maka, but I'm also obsessed with the chaotic Nendoroid duo of Atsumu and Oikawa. I really need to add Sugawara to the mix as well. For some reason, I just love these like tin lunchboxes. I have a Pinky Street and a Parappa and Friends one so far. I think my most coveted trinket here though has to go to the Angel Blue clock. That's an absolute icon at this point. I'm just a sucker for novelty clocks in general. Like if we spin around to the other side of the room, we have this hefty Hello Kitty clock as well. And this is where I have my desk. I don't have a computer because I just do all of my work off a laptop, so it's more like crafty corner. I have my sewing machine. Don't worry, it does usually have a cover over it, but I needed for you to see the sticker selection because it's a big deal for me to actually use my stickers instead of just pointlessly hoarding them. We've got this Mofusan placemat, and then these acrylic stands from Daiso just to prop up the corkboard from earlier, so we have some more space to display some more cute things. For example, my Pinky Street doll collection, this thrifted strawberry that I'm strangely attached to for some reason, and you can't forget Joe hiding behind the IKEA lamp back there. The two things that never fail to boost my mood in this room though are the food coma Atsumu and this teeny tiny Ushijima, which has become my emotional support trinket of choice. Under the desk, I have a bunch of storage boxes, including my cursed box of loose K-pop photo cards. Okay, don't kill me. But I'm searching for one to add to the puppy case. We already saw the legendary blue bin earlier and this Taeyong card, which, by the way, I will die on the hill that no one takes a more consistently stunning PC as Taeyong. Like, I have never once been disappointed because this man is just too photogenic. But if we're trying to give someone else a chance today, then I think these are some of our top contenders. Honestly, I miss doing K-pop related videos. I think that's something that would be fun to get back into this year if I can push my anxiety aside. Definitely like my New Year's goal is to just do the videos I enjoy again. I guess continuing on with that theme, I also have this lovely Runner album on the first tier shelf. Other highlights being the Nana Skull Panda figure and the most adorable rainy day calico critters that I can't decide whether to unbox or not. On the shelf above, I have this beautiful Hachi figurine, probably one of my favorites in my whole collection, the Yosung photo card frame, and Sanji from Whole Cake Island arc because I'm obsessed with the Germa egg chaz. I'd actually love to get Reiju to team with him so he looks a little less lonely. Once again, the theme for this room is just to balance the colors and size of trinkets, but I have the same floating shelves in another room where I opted for a more uniformed approach and it still looks equally as cute. The mirror next to the desk is in desperate need of a clean, so I'm sorry about that, but can we appreciate the blue look figures that I thrifted in separate cities but are my ideal duo from the series? Honestly, I still have more things that I'd love to display in here, but I've just ran out of shelving. So at the moment, I have a couple of things on this little shoe rack, but it is not ideal. I'm not loving that situation, so that might be the first thing that needs an upgrade. Oh, and last but not least, we have my rugs. I really like the layered style. It just feels so cozy to me. I really want one or two more to complete the room, but haven't seen anything I'm obsessed with yet. So let me know if you have any good recommendations. But yeah, that's my room for now. I think I'll be trying to slow down the trinket purchases this year, but there's still some items on my wish list that I will be on the lookout for. I know this was a little different from my usual fashion content, but hopefully you still enjoyed, and stay tuned for a part 2 of sorts where I'm actually going to style outfits based on your favorite trinkets.